Everyone. I am reading a request. This is a cold case and it's out of Missouri. Girl's name is Desirea Ferris, and she was from Liberty, Missouri, and was visiting Kansas City and hanging out with her sister and two guys, it sounds like, the night she disappeared. She texted her sister around 1 a.m., said she was on her way home. Never heard from her again. She did not have her own car, so she was with someone else. My understanding is that one of these men she was with, his cell phone was pinging at the same place as her cell phone was pinging, so they know they were together. But the men, there were two of them, are not talking. And one is actually in jail for distributing meth. So there's a lot of speculation on whether drugs were involved and maybe she overdosed. I guess there was some podcast that where people, I think her mom was in on this podcast, and I didn't listen to it, so I don't know all the details. But from my understanding, the podcast talked about her possibly doing drugs that night and her sister relapsing. Her sister was out with her that night as well, but her sister ended up going home earlier. And it sounds like mom was kind of mad at the end of it of how it was portrayed. She didn't feel her words, she felt her words were taken out of context. So we don't know about drugs. It sounds like the sister got into drugs or something. I don't know if what they were doing this night, but we're going to ask. Doesn't hurt to ask, and we'll find out. So I'm just going to start by just focusing on this Desiree for a second, Desiree Ferris. And we're going to ask about foul play because she just goes missing and nobody knows why. So foul play, Desiree Harris. And I'm really contrasting foul play to, or did she have involvement in her death? Which would be drugs or a suicide, which I don't think it was a suicide, but this is, what do I know? But let's just ask. So foul play, someone else involved in her death. Murder basically is what we're asking about. So I've got two cards here. Well, look at this. This is really interesting, huh? I just said she was out with two guys, and she's got the King of Wands and the King of Cups here. So it does look like these two guys were involved in her death. I see the King of Cups possibly giving her things. King of Wands, he's the active guy. It does look like the guys had some involvement in her death, unfortunately. Someone else was involved. And by that, I mean, if drugs were involved, and we don't know for sure, they could have been the ones supplying her with the drugs that ended up killing her. So in that sense, killed her. But definitely these two guys were involved. I'm just going to say right from the start, these two guys were involved because we've got them right here. It's too coincidental that you got two kings right there popping out right away. Okay, we're going to ask about her own actions as a participant as well, because like I said, they could have gave her stuff, but she could have taken it willingly. Or was this something more sinister? So let's ask about her involvement as well. So tell us about Desiree's involvement in her passing. Desiree's involvement in her passing. Tell me about Desiree's involvement in her passing. So we've got her involvement right in here. And let's see, Desiree's involvement, her own involvement in her passing. And that too is the first two cards. So it looks like Desiree also made a decision. And, that's the Two of Pentacles. He's making a decision. You can see he's like balancing back and forth, like should he, shouldn't he? One decision could lead to less issues, but there still are issues. One decision could lead to more issues, as you see and I say that because you see the wave back here could lead to more waves of issues. And this person is foolishly accepting what's in that cup, which the King of Cups, I believe, gave to her. So I do think drugs, unfortunately, may have been involved. I'm just going out on the limb with that. That's my interpretation. The next card we're going to ask, is it drugs? Looks like King of Cups. If it wasn't drugs, it was drinking, some things that caused issues with her. And unfortunately, she, too, was involved in this decision-making to accept it. The Page of Cups. He's a youngster. These guys were older. I can see that in these cards. I don't know how old they were, but I could tell they were older than her, or at least had more status than her, more authority than her, however you want to put that. She was the youngster in the crowd. She was kind of more of the foolish, kind of being innocent, kind of being led, kind of being just wanting to go along with the crowd and do all that things. Page of Cups is your actor, just kind of in there acting kind of like everybody else and just doing everything else. And Page of Cups is talking to a fish in a cup, not being exactly real serious, being kind of silly, being fun. This person's very creative often. They are just somebody who can be whimsical, somebody who can laugh a lot, all of that, just out having fun, but not being serious whatsoever. So her decisions really just not well thought out at all, just kind of just going along with the crowd is what I see with her. All right, let's see. So she was involved to some degree, but it was more of a just going along with what's happening around her type decision. Let's just ask about the drug involvement. So tell us about Desirea Ferris and the drug. She was only 18 years old, by the way, guys. She was just a youngster. And this happened 5 years ago, over 5 years ago now. Tell us about Desirea and drug involvement that night. Tell us about Desirea and drug involvement that night. All right, let's see what we've got here. Desirea and drug involvement. All right, again, we have two cards. We're going to take these first two. Yeah, this is my classic drug card, the devil. I mean, if I would ask for a card that would portray drugs, it would be the devil. So she did, unfortunately, from the cards. That's what they're saying. She was led, she was just kind of going along with it. Like I said, here you have the girl chained to the guy, kind of just doing the same old as what he's doing. Kind of cat bound, sort of up in this situation. It looks like at some point she did not want to do more. That's what I'm saying, because this is the Four of Cups and this is the okay, I've had enough card. And but somebody's still trying to give her more. So we need to take that into account of the situation. It does look like she was foolish. She was young. She did do some drugs from what I see. It was these guys that gave her the drugs. But at some point she tried to say, okay, enough, but it still seems like maybe they continued to give her, I don't want to say force her, but it looks, I mean, look, with the devil, the person's like literally chained to the other person. It looks like they gave her more than she wanted, much more than she wanted, and more than she could handle. Yeah, so she was a participant to some degree, but ultimately I think these men are responsible for her passing. Because they did things, they like pushed it on her is what they did. That's what they did. And she didn't even want it at a certain point, and they kept giving her more. That's what I'm saying. All right, we're going to ask about these guys because one of these guys is in prison for distributing meth, and then there's another one, and I'm not sure which one's which in this depiction, but we're going to literally ask the cards about the man who's in prison for distributing meth. Was he the one that it could have been both of them, but let's ask about his involvement in giving her more and more and more, because that's what it looks like. Tell us about his involvement in um, peer pressure, just giving her more and more and more. It was like way too much for her, is what I'm saying. All right, man in prison. Tell us about his involvement. Is he the one that gave her more and more and more? It's this card right here. So this is, things stacking up, right? Things piling up. You have a little bit and then a little bit more. So, we've got the Seven of Pentacles here and it's just adding up, right? Everything's adding up. I do think this guy that is currently in prison for distributing meth was involved in giving her more and more and more because we cannot see it. It's all like adding up in her system. That's too much. It gets to be too much. Let's ask about the other man's involvement. I don't have names or I'd be saying their names. I didn't research this that much, and I didn't see it in the articles that I looked at. It just said 2 men. So that's what I've got to go on. Tell me about the other man's involvement, the one, not the one in prison right now, but the other one that she was out with that night. His involvement in her death as well. Yeah, I don't think these guys really cared much about her at all. They were just, out to have a good time. Tell me about this other man's involvement. It's this one right here. Well, that literally is the world, and that is a card about taking somebody out of the world. So they both were involved in her passing, is what I'm seeing. When it's a missing person reading, this card literally means that the person um, was involved, perhaps, in taking someone out of this world. So yeah, they're both guilty, is what I'm seeing. They both were involved in this peer pressure for her to do more and more and more, and give her more and give her more. All right, so now we're just going to ask what happened. We kind of already have our story here, but maybe there's more that needs to be filled in. So let's just focus on that for a second. Let's about what happened. What happened to this girl? Desiree Ferris. What happened? Tell us more about what happened with her. So that's this card right here. So that is the 10 of Pentacles. I'm immediately drawn back to that 7 of Pentacles where things were piling up, and now we've got the 10 of Pentacles. I just feel like we had an abundance. This isn't actually an abundance card traditionally, and having so much you could give some away. That's an inheritance card, being able to pass down. I feel with this, going with this 7 of Pentacles, and now we've got the 10 of Pentacles. Things are adding, and now we've got an abundance. We've got the 10. We're like as high as we can go, as much as you can take with the 10. And it just got to be too much. It's enough for her and many other people at that point. You know what I mean? It's just too much. It's too much. Okay, so now we're going to get into where can she be found, because this girl, to my knowledge, has never been found. So this sounds like there's been they've found bones several times and thought it was her, and it wasn't. So tell us about the place where she can be found. We're going to ask for landmarks too next, but tell us where she can be found. These cards can be very helpful to people who know the area. I don't know the area, so it may not be helpful to me. It could be something really broad, or it could be something exact. So if you know the area, pay attention. So where can she be found? Where can Desiree be found? So we have 2 cards for this one. That's the 7 of Cups. And then we've got the Wheel of Fortune. So the 7 of Cups is like things just aren't very clear at all. It's very, it looks one way, but it's actually another. So with that, taking that into account, wherever she is very, it looks like a certain way, but what looks good, there's actually not good inside of it. I know that sounds kind of kind of vague, but with the Wheel of Fortune too, we do seem to have things turning in the favor of knowledge coming out and truth coming out. So it looks like this vagueness that surrounded this is going to clear up from what I see. I know that's not an exact where can she be found, but it does look like the vagueness and cloudiness is going to clear, and that there's going to be more knowledge coming out about this case. I know after 5 years, that's something. I'm going to ask for the closest known landmark, so maybe this will give us what we're looking for here. It looks good, though. I mean, it does. It looks like things are going to be clearing up. Like there's going to be more information coming out. So let me ask about closest known landmark. Closest known landmark of where Desiree, her physical body, can be found. Tell us about the closest known landmark. Landmark that people would know. People in the area would understand what this is. It's about the closest known landmark. All right, let's look. Closest known landmark. What's about where she can be found? Her physical body. Um, so this the strength card. That is somebody kind of keeping someone's mouth shut. And we've seen that are in this situation for 5 years now. People aren't speaking, and it still looks like these people really, I don't think, have a whole intention of speaking. But I do think this place where she's at is um, somewhere where these people know. Let me just kind of focus on this for a second. Meaning a property where people know. Um, so when I say that, I mean a friend's property, relative's property, something of that nature. We did get this card, this Six of Cups, before when someone was put in a well, a water well at one point. Can't remember the girl's name, but I remember this card for her. And that's where they found her. So it is possible. Um, but everybody just kind of closed things up. That's what I see with that strength card. Just close things up. Maybe put her in, close things up. Let's ask a little bit more about that. Tell me a little bit more about where she can be found, the closest known landmark. A little bit more about where she can be found. I'm really drawn to the X on that Six of Cups. This X here, I think is standing out to me. I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but I'm very much drawn to it. Like where she is may have something like that, a sign like that, or a post like that, or literally a column like that, like it is there. Tell us more about the closest known landmark. We have two again. So again, this is like uh, prop. It reminds me of property of someone you would know, right? The Four of Wands. It's like inviting in, um, and this is actually a card that could denote that she's passed. And I feel that she's on this property of it's property that they know though. Um, maybe even a mom or a family member. I didn't really get a family card, but this can stand for family property. It's a friend or family. It's something they know, they're very familiar with this area. It could be family because we've got the two of I'm sorry, the Four of Wands here, the two people inviting in, friendly, 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 friendly. Seems very a friendly associate, if not. And then we've got the Ten of Pentacles over here, which is calling my name, which is a family card. So was there family property? Is there a family well? Is there, where she met her final resting place, which is the Four of Swords? Again, I question family because we've got a woman and a child here. And this makes me wonder, is it mom? Is there, don't go crazy, internet, please. But is there a relation to these men, the men of a family property where she could be? I mean, they just need to go out and search. It looks like she's on either one of their friends or family property. This isn't like brain science here, guys. Yeah. This is known. I mean, this is a place that's known. These are people that are known to these men. They just need to look. Why aren't they looking? They need to look. She may be buried. I mean, she may be buried with that coffin and all that. But often this card could be just put up above ground too with that Four of Swords. It just looks like she's on family property. She may be in a well, but she's they, it's either family or one of their friends. They just need to search. Why aren't they searching this stuff? They need they just need to go search. This is not brain science, okay? This is not, yeah. If they haven't searched these guys' family's property, family, or their own property, it could be their own property. It's either their property, their family property, or their friend's property. It's close to home, and I don't mean close to their house. It's close in the sense of people that they know. Could be close to their house, but yeah, this is not hard. This is not hard. I don't know why people haven't found her yet. This is not hard. Go back and watch my reading. Oh, what was her name? Was it Ariel something? The guy killed her in his own home and took her out and put her in an abandoned well on his property. This is kind of reminiscent of that. They just need to go and do a little more searching. Like, at this point, I just kind of think, did no one look for this girl? Well, because it's not like she's like super hidden out kind of off in the wilderness. She's somewhere where people like know these other guys. The people, if it's either their property or people that know these two, that know them, friends, family. It's I'm just kind of flabbergasted that she hasn't been found when I look at this. That's all. All right, current physical state. I don't even know that we need to ask that. I think the girl's passed, unfortunately, but let's just ask. Tell us about her body, her body that she was in while she accompanied life on Earth, while she was here, walking around, breathing warm in a human physical body. A human physical body. Tell us about that state. Um, and or is she a beautiful spirit at this moment? Tell us about her being in a human body or being as a beautiful spirit. Kind of drawn to both these cards. Well, sorry, allergies get me. This is she turned away from what was good. She knew what was good, you know. She knew the good cups and she unfortunately didn't stick to that. She went off into the dark. We see the moon, lots of trepidation, lots of things that are unknown in this dark, and we know that that's where she went. And then we have the lovers card. I do feel that she has passed just because the lovers are like people that have been kind of judged, if you will. And this is an angel, and I do feel that she was with one of these men. She may have even been in a relationship or had a relationship with one of these guys that night or for longer of the time. I don't know. One was considered her boyfriend. But I do feel he very much was involved in her passing. Very much. She wanted to not do more, and we saw that here too. The 4 cups and the 8 of cups. She's like walking away from the cups, but you know, she's out kind of in this bad situation, out in the dark with these guys, and I think she liked one of the guys. Unfortunately, it's weren't good for her. I know her family would know more about that, but these guys weren't good for her, and she just kind of went along with things because she liked them. Yeah, it's just not a good situation. That's too bad. Let's ask for the advice to searchers, which right there, it's like look on his property, look on his family's property or his friend's property. I mean, it's just somebody's keeping their mouth shut that even kind of knows stuff about it. It's really ridiculous that they haven't found her. Let's ask advice to searchers. This is the most ridiculous one I think I've read. Advice to searchers, meaning it's this would not take much to find this girl. I don't know how much the police have put into this, but I don't feel like I feel like she's right in front of their noses, honestly. I mean, it's just almost embarrassing. Advice to searchers. Give us some advice on how people can find this girl. All right, we've got these two right here. Look, the guy's going to be trying to be protective of it. Again, we saw this female. I saw the female in the star card. What about this woman? Who is she? I feel like there's a female that's involved. It's maybe her property. Again, remember I said, could it be his mother or something like that? Um, some woman that's also involved. We saw the woman up here too in the Four Swords. Man giving something to a woman here and two women here. There's not that many women in tarot, and we have women everywhere here. And the star card. Is there a property that's kind of a woman's property that he's going to be super protective, and so is she. But I feel like there's a woman that sort of knows about or has suspicions about. I would look, what women are they around that are family members or friends? Of course, he's not going to tell. He's going to try to protect it to the end, and so is she. But she knows. I think you just need to question her a little bit more, whoever she is. This older woman, maybe. All right, so let's just ask her, what do we need to know? A grandmother? Does he have a grandmother around there? What do we need to know? What do we need to know? I say search family members' properties. I do think things are going to change, and we saw that with the Wheel of Fortune. It looks kind of quick. Maybe somebody will actually get some gumption to go do an actual real search, because it feels like she's outside of someone's home on this property, and I would look in a well if somebody's got a well on their property. That's just me. Or around their property if they don't. And will she be found? It does look like she will be, honestly. Let's just ask if she'll be found. Tell us about Desiree Ferris being found. I mean, they've got her kind of hid pretty good, but if somebody actually looked good, they would find her. Will she be found? Tell us about Desiree being found. I do think she will be. All right, two. Yeah, look at that. Just showing up. That's a good card. And again, it's going to happen real fast. Knight of Swords. So something's going to change here, guys. Real quick. It's going to go boom. And here we have Justice. So yeah, listen to that. After 5 years, I do believe Desiree Ferris. May take a little longer, but my gosh, it's not like this one can't be found. These guys are not like the most brilliant guys, okay? That they are getting away with this is like ridiculous. Ridiculous. I would go to whatever women are in their families, moms, grandmas. You need to talk to them, maybe sisters, and women friends, and search their property. That's my advice. That's not my advice. That's a card's advice. This girl can be found. 110% she can be found, and I feel she will be found. All right, take care, people. Bye bye.